Shalom, family. Brother Malak. Hopefully, everyone is doing wonderful today. Family, before I get into this topic, let me give you two quick stories. And hopefully, these two stories will give clarity on why I am stating what I'm stating. Okay, a few months ago, a coworker passed away at my job. I think the lady had been working for the company about 40 years, to my understanding. No kids, no husband, from my understanding now. Could be wrong, but just from my understanding. And she passed away like a month before she was going to retire. Okay, that's the first story. Second story is my mother. My mother worked for a company for 30 years. I think she started working for this company when she was 18. Just as this lady worked for this company, I think at 18. Started working for the company at 18. My mother worked 30 years for this company, and they forced her into retirement. And she was not old enough to receive Social Security, so she had to get another job. Why am I stating it? Why am I stating all this, or why am I saying all this? Family, when a lot of people work for companies and they try to retire or they retire, in a lot of cases, the powers that be or the system says they're not old enough. They're not old enough to receive the benefits that they have paid into the system. But let's look at the term not old enough for a second, because even as an adult, there's always something that you're not old enough to do. Starting off first when you're not old enough to smoke, you're not old enough to drink, you're not old enough to get in certain movies, you're not old enough. There's always these restrictions on age restricted things. Now, not that I indulge in smoking and things of that nature, but my point is just that somebody or the system is always telling you you're not old enough, but then you're old enough to lose your life by going fight a pointless war that really and truly you have nothing to do with. But when people say stuff like this, then you're not patriotic. But here it is. The system continues to rob you and manipulate you and don't give full disclosure on things. Now, when you become an adult, it's the same thing. The system is telling you that you're not old enough. You're not old enough to retire. You're not old enough to collect your the things that you have worked for. Enjoy the fruits of your labor. In many cases, those people that do retire, they work. I mean, they worked all their life. They didn't say all their life, but they worked 10, 15, 20, 30 years, whatever. Now it's time to retire. You can't retire because you're not old enough. Then when you get old enough to retire, in many cases, these people don't even enjoy the fruits of their labor. They wind up dying off, and within 5 years, 7 years. And now the government keeps those resources that you have paid into. You pay into Social Security, Medicaid, or whatever. And now I want you to think about this here. This is supposed to be the wealthiest, the wealthiest country in the world. But you pay for your education, you have to pay for your insurance, and you're paying into the system for this, but you don't even receive those benefits. Now, there's people that have insurance on their job and they pay into it, but I'm talking about the people that pay taxes into this system, but you still can't even use the stuff that you are paying into. Just want you to think about that for a minute. when the people that you elect into office, the people that you elect into office, which is a whole nother subject, they live wealthy off your resources. You know, their children live a good life. They're not bounded by the same things that you're restricted to. But anyway, family, just was thinking about that, it is, that's the case with most of us. We work 10, 20, 30 years, pay into a system, and then you retire, or you try to retire, and they tell you you're not old enough. Then when you get old enough to retire, you don't even get a chance to enjoy the things that you worked for because you pass away. Just food for thought. With that being said, family, leave it there. As usual, peace, love. Shalom.